All right, hello, welcome to day one of limits, folks. Here we go. All right, what is a limit? Oh, I always do that. You guys are funny. All right, shh, Manny, focus. Here we go. All right, so you guys want to? You're gonna hear me say a lot, like x is like approaching a value, okay? And then we have our what is our y? What is your y approach? Okay, if you want to underline those words, those are key words. All right, let's show you what it actually physically looks like so you can see that. All right, you're going to see the words like LIM, that obviously stands for limit, f of x, and then you would have like your answer. But you notice there's going to be a little plus and a little minus, okay? The little plus says that we're approaching x, or as x approaches, like in this case, 0, but from the right. And that usually means like the right side of 0. And I'll explain this in a physical problem. It's a little bit easier. And then you're going to see this little negative. Notice it's here to the right of 0. That means I'm going to approach 0, but from the left. All right. Graphically, and I will do this with you guys, is I always like to draw a line at that x value because it will separate your graph to a left side and to a right side, and it makes it so much easier. Ready? All right, so let's look at our first graph. So we've got a lot going on here, right? Let's kind of just look at it, right? What do you guys see when you look at this graph? Call it out. What do you see?
A V.
I see a V. Okay, beautiful. What else do you guys see?
Check mark.
Okay, what else do you see?
Open and close.
Oh, I see open and closed circles, right? All right, they're going to become kind of important. You ready? We're going to come over here, and let's see what it's asking you first. It says, what's the limit as x approaches 3, but it has the little plus, right? Right there. So let's go to the number 3, and I want you guys to draw a vertical line at 3. Ask yourself the question, where is my graph at 3? 3, right here, right? So the answer to my limit question is going to just be 3. That's the height of my graph at that point. Nothing crazy is going on. That's how easy a limit could be. All right? Now, f of 3, what do you think f of 3 would be? That would also be 3. Right? Nothing crazy is going on. What happens when you go to -4, though? What do you guys notice? The 2 dots. All right, so let's draw a vertical line here. Okay, now you notice that you have how many dots? 2. One is open and one is closed. The closed one, the piece of the graph that's connected to it, is it on the left of the blue line or the right? Okay, so let's put a little L there. And then the other circle is on what side? The right. Now, let's go back to the question. After the number -4, what symbol is there? Negative. So which answer do you think I want? Which will be what number? What height?
6.
Good job, guys. See? Not bad, right? Okay, now this is the all important. You did this in the beginning of the year when we did piecewise. What's f of -4? 6. Okay, because f, this takes on what circle? Yeah, closed. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
See, I prepared you. Okay, now we're going to talk about like two-sided limits, okay? So for the two-sided, your limit from the left has to equal the limit from the right. And then your actual limit will exist at that number. right? If you've watched Mean Girls, right? If you've ever watched Mean Girls, nice and easy. If my limit from the left doesn't equal the limit from my right, we say the limit does not exist. So let's do it with numbers to make it nice and easy, right? Here I have, this answer says it's 4 from the right, 4 from the left. I call this the full limit. I say this is the actual like full limit would be 4. Because what number are they both? 4. Over here though, one of them is 4 and one is 8. Are they the same?
No.
Okay. Not equal. So now we write D and E. Does not exist. So these two are the same. Okay. Pretty decent? Pretty easy-ish? Alright, let's go. Nah, we got this. Alright. Okay, so. Alright, let's go to the next area. Okay, you doing okay? Alright, so the limit as x approaches 1. So now, I'm not asking you for a left or right side, so you got to be careful. So go to 1, draw a line. Do you guys notice, are you in 2 different spots?
Yeah.
What do you think the limit would be at 1?
2. Oh, wait, no, 1. 2. 1.
Well, here's the problem. The closed circle would be if I asked you from what direction. What would this be? Left. This one would be the right.
Sorry, 1.
Very good. No. Listen. Are these 2 numbers the same? So this
I mean, yeah.
does not
Okay,
exist.
well, last no plus or minus. 4.
No, when there's no plus or. All right. So now go to 3. Right? So now you're like, oh, let's go to 3. Cool. I go to 3. Ask yourself the question, where's my graph at 3?
0.
What do you think that answer is?
0.
0. Just 0, because nothing crazy is going on, right? When you have this break in the graph, that's when you got to be careful. You're like, whoa, wait, what's going on? You guys okay? All right, what do you think f of 1 will be? Beautiful. F of 3? 0. All right, you guys ready?
Sure.
All right, so this is the famous graph that I actually drew on the board there from Mean Girls, where it's like she sees it in her head and she's like, oh, limit does not exist. Okay, so these are like at over here, this would be like negative infinity for x, right? And then over here would be your positive infinity. As x is approaching negative infinity, what is the height of your graph getting closer and closer to becoming? Like, what is this to 0, right? This would be 0. And then over here, God bless you, if I'm going this way, what's the height of that graph getting closer to 0? When you guys do infinities, you actually read the far ends of your graphs, okay? All right, you guys ready for one big question together? All right, let's go. All right, so what you're gonna do, right? You're gonna always go to the number and ask yourself, where is my graph? Say it. So Manny, we're gonna go to 0. Notice I'm ignoring that little plus there unless it matters, right? So I go to 0 and I ask myself, where's my graph? 2. Anything crazy going on? No. What do you think the answer is?
2.
Yes. All right. Boom. All right. Now go down to letter B. What number are you going to?
-7.
-7. Where is my graph? What's that height? No. Oh no. Where's my? Ooh, good one. Good one though. But where's my graph? My graph is at -4. So my limit here would be -4. That's okay to be an open circle. It's kind of like someone came and punched a hole in the graph, right? Do you guys know like manhole covers? Like the sewer covers? It's like somebody punched a hole, but that hole, the manhole cover went all the way up here. Okay?
What's the difference between A and C with plus 0?
Four.
X approaches 5. Oh, this one's a little tricky.
Four.
This one's tough.
4.
Does yeah. Why would this one be a D and E?
Because that one is on whatever that one is, 3.
Or this is at 4,
And that one's infinity.
and this one's like negative infinity. That was a tricky one though.
Not really.
Yeah, that was a little tricky. All right. What about negative infinity? As x approaches negative infinity.
0.
Wait, hold on. Let's go. Negative infinity is here. But where's my graph at? It's here at a height, and it's just going to keep going. So -4. Good. All right. What about positive infinity?
0.
No. Look at the arrow, right?
6.
Look at the arrow. No. But which way is it heading?
I don't know.
Up. So up would be? Nope. Positive.
6.
Nope.
No, infinity.
Infinity.
Ah.
Yes.
No.
Yes, you do.
No. Come on. You don't have to. All right. Now, Olivia, this is where that lonely point up there. What would be my f of -7? 6. That's where that point comes in. Okay? All right, f of 0.
0.
2.
Sorry.
F of 5. Okay, so for f ofs, we don't like to use D and E. We use the word undefined.
I thought put D and D would be long.
Yes, actually. I think so.